The SoFi stock went up by over 5% after what experts are calling an outstanding earnings report was announced. So is the stock a buy? Sit tight as we answer that by going through the earnings report as well as my chart analysis and price prediction. But before we do that, subscribe to our channel Stocks 101 for regular stock market updates. SoFi's sales have gone up by 51% in the third quarter as compared to last year's results. As per the report, the company incurred a quarterly loss of $0.09 per share, performing better than the estimated loss of $0.1 per share. Meanwhile, the revenue stood at $424 million, up over 50% as compared to last year's Q3 revenue of $277.2 million, while surpassing analyst projections by 8.45%. CEO Anthony Noto gave an interview after this big achievement where he said that SoFi is very well positioned for recovery as their user growth and growing deposits hint at better revenues and hopefully some profits as well in 2023. In our opinion, SoFi looks volatile, but considering the upside, this risk might be worth taking. With all that in mind, let's analyze the charts. So as you guys can see right here, we're now in the 1-day chart for SoFi, and of course we'll first analyze the 1-day chart, then the 1-hour chart, and to end it off we'll get into the 5-minute chart. But right off the bat we can see that of course the stock got a gap up after the earnings report. Right, we went from a price of $5.45 to a price of $6.45, indicating almost a 19% rise. But shortly after, we can see that we fell down from the price of 18.45, or well, I'm sorry, the price of 6.45 to somewhere around 5.71, indicating another 11% downtrend. So that, of course, is not good news. This, in my opinion, was caused by two reasons, right? Number one, of course, the swing traders that hit their targets around $6 and $6.5, so they sold the stock. Because of course, a large part of this 159 million shares traded were being traded on the intraday and swing, stuff. But positional traders, if we talk about positional traders, why did they sell the stock? Well, a lot of people thought that, hey, we've gotten decent profits or we've gotten at least lesser losses, so we should probably exit. But of course, if we look at the previous performance of the stock, it's not exactly like other stocks that have taken a hit in 2022 or even the past years, because we've been holding on to these levels pretty well for pretty much half of the entire 2022, half of the entire year, right? The bottom we made over here was around 4.75, I believe, 4.8, right? So we've touched that bottom a lot of times, and of course we did not break below that level, so that's a good sign at least, or at least for now, right? Of course, we do know that the stock did get a good earnings report, but the fact that it's still falling down is kind of worrying, right? Of course, why did it fall down in the first place? You see that we have a Fed meeting today, and of course, it will impact financial stocks like SoFi the most, in my opinion. So that probably is the biggest reason why the stock is falling and people are booking their profits, because they want to book their profits as long as they have them, because of course if the Fed meeting ends in something negative, the stock will go down and we'll probably get back to the $5 range. So if we look at the basic price action, like excluding this candle completely, we can see that it's going pretty normal, right? We did get into somewhat of an uptrend, which now it seems to be fading away. Of course, we did get resisted around 5.7 and we made a top somewhere around 5.75. So that's nothing new if you ask me. And of course, we did fall down over here, right? We have not gotten any candlestick patterns as such yet. We did get one over here. It was a pin bar candle to the downside. It did play out well. We had got another pin bar candle on the upper side, but it did not play out well. So if you ask me what's going to happen next, in my opinion, we should probably, honestly, it really depends on the Fed meeting, but I don't really see the SoFi stock recovering, at least for this year, because of course, it's a financial stock, and as long as there's inflation, the stock is going to suffer. Quick typo, I did not mean inflation, I meant recession, so I'm sorry for that. But with that, my price target, however, I am bullish on the SoFi stock in the long run, because of course, small stocks such as this one, even if they get some price movements, like over here, for example, the people who had bought around $6 probably got great returns, right? 40% returns in less than a month. So it is a good share if you know how to take your way around it. And is it a good long-term hold? In my opinion, it might be a good long-term hold considering the fact that we finally have, been cutting down on losses and the revenue is growing, user growth is growing. So once, they cut down a bit on the marketing budget as well, once they have enough users and they get spreaded by the mouse to mouth stuff, right? The word of mouth stuff, then we can see the stock really climbing higher, right? But until then, it's probably a good buy under the $6 level anytime. So that's of course a good sign. But to analyze whether it's a good thing to buy or rather trade today, let's quickly jump on to the 1 hour chart to see some more details. Now that we're in the 1 hour chart, we can see that the picture is finally a lot more clear, as we can see that, well, over here we did get a boost to the upside, but of course we fell down, and we did get an inside candle on the last candle for the 1st November chart, which kind of indicated that we might get a bad movement on the other day, since it was pretty much continued, or rather it followed up after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red candles. So of course we did get another red candle today. Is it going to be another 6 red candles? I don't really think so. So if you ask me, we should probably take support around the level of 5.45, and even if we break that, we do have another support around $5.3, so that should hold on. Of course, we'll first get supported around the $5.5 range, right? So that's the psychological zone. But in case we fail that, you should probably mark these levels. If we talk about resistance, of course, we have a resistance around 5.65, and we have another resistance around 5.75. So these are pretty much all of the levels that we'll need today. Now, if I were to predict the chart's movements for the day, I believe that we'll probably end this candle in the red, of course. We might get a small green candle over here, probably another red candle over here, get back to the $5.5 range. Then we might be stuck in the 5.65 and $5.5 range to end of the day. Of course, right, the Fed decision will matter a lot. So this is my analysis excluding the Fed decision. And just considering the market conditions, I do believe that the Fed will have some, negative news to give us, and that, of course, is not a good sign. And people are probably selling stocks because of that as well. But with that being said, I don't believe there's much left to analyze in the 1 hour chart. So let's quickly move on into the 5-minute charts. So now that we're in the 5-minute chart, we can see that we might just be starting another bearish trend, right? We can see that we did get a negative pin bar candle over here after an inside candle followed by, or rather it followed up with a massive red candle. That was the first candle of the day. After that, we can see that we did get another pin bar on the downside, another one, and this pattern just seems to be all summing up. So we should probably get another pin bar at this point. And once we do that, if the pin bar is, of course, a bigger wick on the downside and a smaller body on the upper side, that might, help us go up, or rather just control this damage that we'll be doing to the stock's price. But of course, if we look at the long-term price action, or rather just the entire day's price action, I do believe that we will trigger off a short-term bear trend down to the 5.45 and $5.4 range. So it should be a good opportunity for traders, right? If you want to take a trade of shorting the stock over here, you can probably make at least 1%. And if you use margins on that, boom, 5%, 10%, easy money, right? But of course, it's not financial advice. Anyways, if we look at the bigger picture as well, we can see that we had a similar trend on the previous day as well, as you guys can see. With that, SoFi for me remains a hold to buy. Of course, if you want to take the risk, it's a good buy, right? It's a good stock for those who love risks. But for the general investor, I probably would stay away from it. And if you want to trade it, sure, you can get great trades in it because there's a lot of volatility. But even if we look at the bigger picture, I don't really believe the stock will ever go down below the $4 level. So it's the risk kind of is capped in my opinion, so I personally wouldn't mind touching the stock. So who knows, once the stock goes down even further, I might actually buy some shares myself. But with that being said, of course, remember that this definitely was not financial advice, as I could be wrong, so you should always do your own research. Of course, if you enjoyed the analysis, be sure to hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, be sure to hit that dislike button. You can subscribe to our channel, Stocks 101, for more such videos. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.